I offer my pranam to Sri Sadguru Ma, Reverend Swamiji, Honorable Chair and dignitaries. The paper entitled Acharya Shankar, the Champion of the Eternal Peace, discusses two sorts of peace. One is the peace of the mundane existence and other is the eternal peace. Mundane life is full of conflicts, anguish and clashes. In this journey, the force of ego frequently asserts its presence, influencing our day-to-day interactions and relationships. Despite these challenges, the ultimate destiny of humanity lies in the pursuit of eternal peace, a serene state that transcends the turbulence of worldly concerns. The inherent quest for tranquility amidst the chaos of mundane existence serve as a reminder that beyond the transient struggles, the true purpose of human life is the attainment of everlasting peace. In the complex fabric of society, justice and peace intertwine as guiding forces. Advocating for the equitable distribution of resources, opportunities, and rights. Together, they weave a narrative that fosters harmonious coexistence among diverse communities, striving for a balance that enables each individual to flourish. The pursuit of justice is not merely a moral imperative, but also a pathway to sustainable and enduring peace. Throughout the history of human civilization, an unwavering quest for an ideal form of justice has persistently woven itself into the fabric of societal evolution. Whether undertaken consciously or embedded in the subconscious, the fervent desire for a just and equitable society stands as a defining pursuit throughout the annals of human progress. From the earliest stages of development, as humanity transitioned from primitive existence to the state of self-conscious being, the yearning for justice became a cornerstone of social dynamics. This intrinsic aspiration transcends cultural, geographical, and temporal boundaries, illustrating a universal longing for fairness and moral equilibrium. As civilizations have risen and fallen, ideologies have shifted and socio-political structures have transformed. The essence of the quest for justice remains a testament to the profound and enduring nature of this human pursuit. The quest for peace remains at the core of Indian philosophy and philosophers. Reverend sages and scholars persist in delving into inquiries concerning existence, knowledge, morality, and the very essence of reality. Through their timeless exploration, they seek to illuminate paths towards harmony and spiritual enlightenment. I understand peace in two ways. One is the absence of conflicts and violence, and the other is the attainment of the state of equanimity, which begets eternal peace. The quest for worldly peace can be examined through a dual lens, encompassing both the absence of external conflicts and violence as well as the attainment of internal mental equipoise leading to eternal peace. Eternal peace, as envisaged by Acharya Shankar, is synonymous with a state of bliss, representing the ultimate goal of human existence. Adi Shankaracharya emerges as a champion of eternal peace, advocating for a transformative journey within oneself. According to his philosophy, true and lasting peace begins with the individual attaining equanimity. As human beings cultivate a sense of peace within, they are better equipped to extend that peace to the external world. Shankar's teachings emphasize that the reconstruction of a harmonious society originates from the individual pursuit and realization of eternal peace within oneself. By striving for this inner serenity, individuals contribute to the collective well-being, fostering a world where conflicts are mitigated and the peace becomes a shared endeavor. themselves as inherently superior to their less privileged counterparts. This dynamic sets the stage for a cycle of injustice as the powerful exploit their positions to maintain dominance, while the weak and poor find themselves subjected to systematic oppression with limited avenues for recourse. Addressing the core issues of inequality is imperative to break this cycle and create a more just and equitable society. In a notable incident in the sacred city of Kashi, Sri Shankaracharya was returning from a ritual bath in the river Ganga, accompanied by his disciples. Along their path, they encountered a man who belonged to the outcast community, considered untouchable in the rigid social hierarchy of the time. As an untouchable man approached Sri Shankaracharya, an onlooker, recognizing the person's social background, urged him to step aside and not obstruct Acharya Shankar's path. However, the untouchable man, displaying remarkable self-respect and spiritual wisdom, refused to yield to the discriminatory norms of the society. He responded with two verses, which are encapsulated in the text known as Manisha Panchakam, emphasizing the universal spiritual essence that transcends caste and social divisions, highlighting the core teachings of equality and unity that Sri Shankaracharya philosophy stood for. This episode serves as a profound illustration of the saint's teachings and the potential for transformation and spiritual realization even in the face of societal prejudice and discrimination. In his conversation with Shankaracharya, the untouchable man asked a very meaningful question by comparing the reflection of the sun in the water of the sacred river Ganga to its reflection in a ditch and at an outcast person's place. This analogy emphasizes the universality of the sun's reflection regardless of the water's source, highlighting the inherent equality of all individuals regardless of their social background. This query challenges the discriminatory social norms that exist within the caste system. He asked that Annamaya Dannamayam Athva Chaitanyamaya Chaitanyat Dvijvar Duri Kartum Vanchi Kim Bruhi Gach Gachyeti. Do you wish to eliminate the physical body or isolate consciousness? Could you please clarify whether when you say Gacha Gacha or get away, you are talking about removing the physical body that is formed through nourishment, or if you intend to separate that consciousness which permeates the entire universe? The person continued to express their curiosity and said, King Ganga Muni Bimbi Tado, Chandala Vithipaya, Pure Vantarmasti, Kanchan Ghati, Mrit Kumbyor Vambhare. प्रत्येक वस्तुनि तरंग सहजानंदाव बोधम बुधो विप्रयोम स्वपचो अमित्यपि कोयम महान विभेद भ्रमा. This verse conveys a significant message about the impartial nature of natural elements. It emphasizes that the sun's light shines equally on all, whether it be the sacred river Ganga or a ditch in marginalized communities. Similarly, the vast sky, which envelopes the entire universe, does so uniformly. Whether it is inside or outside the boundaries of a simple pot, this message signifies that nature makes no distinctions between different entities, treating all with the same universality and equality. Whether it is a precious golden pot or a humble earthen one, the sky extends itself uniformly, emphasizing the idea of impartiality and unity within the natural world. The presence of consciousness in all living beings serves as the foundation for the entire existence of creation. An individual who is deeply connected with their true nature, serving as a source of perpetual and joyful consciousness, while maintaining unwavering thoughts, holds a remarkable understanding of the interconnectedness of all life. It is worth pondering whether it is fitting for such a profound yogi to create deceptive divisions based on social distinctions like labeling someone as a Brahmin or as an outcast. The essence of this message underscores the idea that true wisdom and spirituality should transcend such artificial differentiations, emphasizing the unity of all living beings. The person's dilemma was, why did a sense of duality arise in the mind of a great yogi like Shankaracharya? Their curiosity was about King Ganga Muni Bimbin Tembarmada Chandal Vithipaya. In this verse, the concept of the pure and eternal consciousness, employing metaphors that liken it to the all-pervading radiance of the sun and the river Ganga as the divine creator. He also explores the ever-shifting nature of individuals, acknowledging how they transition between being sattvic, embodying purity and goodness, rajasic, displaying activity and passion, and tamasic, exhibiting inertia and darkness. This underscores the idea that ordinary individuals are akin to secluded pond, symbolizing their fluctuations and imperfections within the vast expanse of the universal consciousness. The pure consciousness, often compared to the essence of the sun, remains unaltered, unaffected by external factors, just as the reflection of the sun on the surface of a sacred river like Ganga or in a dirty pond appears the same. The distinction arises from the nature of the river and the pond itself, with the Ganga being revered and its water considered sacred, while the pond is not afforded the same reverence. This metaphor illustrates how the intrinsic purity of consciousness is unaltered by external circumstances and the perception of the sacredness is relative to the context. Similarly, this concept extends to the idea that pure consciousness is a universal element that permeates all living beings. Yet each living being possesses a unique nature and displays distinct behavior, much like the different nature of river and ponds. As a result, the reflection of consciousness in each being varies in accordance with their individual nature. This perspective highlights the diversity and individuality of living beings, each a unique reflection of the same underlying consciousness. In this philosophical context, the question arises of how one can differentiate among individuals based on their birth or actions once they attain a realization of their true self. The answer lies in recognizing that the soul, which is considered distinct from the ultimate reality or Brahman, exists within all living beings as an identical unifying conscious element. In other words, when one realizes their true self, they understand that the essence of consciousness or the Atman is the same in all beings, transcending the distinctions created by birth or action. This realization leads to a deeper understanding of the unity that underlies the diversity of life. Pratyek vastuni nistarang sahajananda bodham buddha. The man says again, the ocean serves as a symbol for the entirety of creation or the universal self, representing the concept of a pure, eternal, and all-pervading soul. In this analogy, waves of the ocean symbolize the thoughts of individual and the inherent diversity within creation. The very existence of waves is intrinsically linked to the presence of water, mirroring how the ocean itself is nothing but water. Without water, there would be no waves and the ocean would cease to exist. This idea underscores the relation between the individual and the broader universe. It emphasizes that the supreme consciousness is fundamental cornerstone of creation. Without this consciousness, there would be no living beings, no individuals, and no deities. Ultimately, this supreme consciousness is the substratum of the entire universe. In this thought-provoking conversation, an untouchable man posed an intense question to the revered philosopher Adi Shankaracharya. His inquiry delves into the heart of a significant philosophical debate exploring the distinction between the material and the spiritual, and whether the exhortation carried deeper metaphysical implications. The question invites reflection on the nature of the self, the body, and the spirit, and prompts us to ponder the meaning of detachment in the context of the human experience. In fact, these questions gets to the core of the long-standing problem of discrimination in society based on people's caste or social class. Shankaracharya, upon receiving the untouchable man's questions, experiences intense pain and is moved to offer his own contemplation in 5 verses. In his response, Shankaracharya conveys a deep conviction of Advaita Vedanta, a philosophy that emphasizes the oneness of all existence, transcending superficial distinctions like caste. This narrative provides the background of the text. These 5 verses are collectively known as Manisha Panchakam. I would like to discuss here 5th and last verse, in which Shankar says there, Yat Saukhya Ambudhi Lesh Leshat Ime Shakra Dayo Yachite Nitram Prashant Kalne Labdava Munir Nivritta Yasmin Nitya Sukham Buddha Galit Dhir Brahmhav Na Brahmavid Yah Kishit Surendra Vandita Pada Nunam Manishamam. Droplet of a drop of the ocean of bliss is ample to please or to fulfill the Indra and the other deities. A yogi whose mind is quiet and tranquil, this equanimity state of mind is satisfied by acquiring the ocean of bliss, and he or she becomes not only a perceiver or the knower of the Brahman, but the Brahman itself. He is a well-qualified self whose feet are revered for the deities to bow down. This is my conviction, says Shankar. A tiny droplet of worldly happiness from the vast ocean of peace has the ability to satiate and fulfill even the deities. This idea emphasizes the incredible potency of even the tiniest taste of bliss. For a sadhaka or yogi who can uphold a calm and tranquil state of mind, achieving this equanimity leads to satisfaction, similar to acquiring an entire ocean of bliss. In this state of inner peace, an individual not only comprehends their true nature or connection with the divine, but actually embodies it. Such a person is considered a highly qualified and enlightened being, and their presence is to so reverent that even deities bow in reverence to them. This concept underscores the transformative power of inner serenity and self-realization, revealing that a drop of bliss can lead to an ocean of self-realization. Supreme Self, or the Brahman, is the ocean of eternal bliss. Fraction of a second of bliss is sufficient to gratify the worldly deities, says Shankar in the last verse of Manisha Panchakam, to glorify the eternal peace of Supreme Consciousness. An individual driven by the aspiration to attain oneness with the Supreme Self and finds that the pleasure of the material world fit to provide lasting satisfaction. Instead, their focus becomes a constant contemplation of the Supreme Self, leading to the realization of eternal peace. As this aspirant's mind becomes inseparably intertwined with the realm of Supreme Consciousness, they transcend the mere status of being an observer or knower of Brahman. In this profound state of unity, the aspirant is no longer distinct from Brahman, but rather becomes one with it. The teachings of Yajnavalkya to King Janak, the essence of existence, is beautifully described in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. The self, through realization and transcendence, attains a state of oneness and transparency similar to the nature of water. In this state, the self becomes ultimate observer and devoid of a second entity. Yajnavalkya emphasized to Janak that this state represents the pinnacle of spiritual attainment, the highest glory and the ultimate realm of existence, radiating with unbounded bliss. The interconnectedness of this peace is such that it sustains all other living beings. This spiritual wisdom underscores the unity and interconnectedness of all life, with the attainment of oneness being the highest and most beautiful state to which one can aspire. When an individual attains the realization of their self as a self-luminous consciousness, transformation occurs. This awareness leads to a state of tranquility and eternity. In this state, the individual self reflects the nature of water, symbolizing a non-dual consciousness where all forms of duality cease to exist. It is the recognition that the dualities experienced by the individual selves, stemming from the ignorance, are illusory. The pleasure experienced by the jiva or individual selves, including the deities, I'm skipping a few paragraphs. Realization of the self is, in essence, the process of shedding the erroneous identification with the mind and body, leading to the realization of one's true nature as the infinite and eternal Brahman. It is important to recognize that bondage is not an absolute reality, but rather a result of ignorance, as this ignorance dissipates the individual self, become a Jivan Mukt or liberated while still in the embodied state. The proclamation that Brahman is everything and everything is Brahman is a fundamental concept of Advaita philosophy. It encapsulates the idea that Brahman is the underlying essence of the entire universe and that everything in the universe is ultimately a manifestation or expression of Brahman. The verses exchanged between Adi Shankaracharya and untouchable man underscores the core principle of equality, non-discrimination, and the divinity of all beings. It's a powerful example of how Shankaracharya's teaching transcends societal norms and challenges the prevailing caste-based discrimination of his time, promoting a more inclusive and spiritually profound understanding of humanity. One of the salient features of Advaita philosophy, as exemplified in Manisha Panchkam, is the idea that discrimination based on caste, creed, or color is incompatible. Instead, this philosophy emphasizes the unity and interconnectedness of all beings. According to the philosophy of Advaita, the individual self is not only encouraged but also obliged to serve the well-being of humanity. This service extends beyond just human beings. Individuals are equally obliged to nurture and care for the entire creation, including both creatures and nature. The human obligation towards nature and the entire creation can be seen as an expression of the humanistic aspects of Shankar's philosophy. It emphasizes the realization of the unity of all existence and encourages a sense of duty towards the welfare of all living beings and the environment. Advaita philosophy inspires individuals to find meaning and worth in their lives by caring for safeguarding the interconnectedness of creation. When an individual transcends the challenges of earthly existence or worldly existence, is not mere a product of fanciful desires or detached contemplation rooted in abstract reflection. Instead, it necessitates a deep understanding, one that can only be acquired through resolute and unwavering dedication. This realization is the result of ardent effort and a deliberated journey toward self-awareness. In fact, the quest for peace is a transformative process. It transforms the society because development and justice are possible in a peaceful society. Thank you very much.